Welcome to the Sweet Life Coaching Podcast, connecting real people with expert advice to achieve a healthier lifestyle and live a more fulfilling and abundant life. Here is your host, Coach Tavia.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Sweet Life Coaching Podcast. It's me, it's your girl, Tavia, and Health Coach Tav, and I have an amazing guest this week. I am so excited to bring in another fabulous person into this realm. And today I am talking with Dr. John Harmon. Hello, Dr. Harmon.
Hello.
Thank you for being here. So Dr. Harmon is actually based down in Boise, Idaho, correct? Down in Boise?
Right next door in Meridian.
Meridian, yeah, suburb. Okay,
Yeah.
I know exactly where Meridian is. Awesome. So Dr. Harmon and I, actually, we've never officially met face-to-face in person. This is like a real treat for me. I've been following him and his journey and his doing the good, as I like to say, and sharing the good of these wonderful new technologies that's come out. And some of you may have heard me talk about it, and it's these new stem cell patches that have emerged. Actually, they've been around for quite a while, but they've emerged into my life this year. And I was following Dr. Harmon on some trainings, and I was just blown away by the technology, the science, and whatnot. So I decided, why not reach out to Dr. Harmon? Let's have him tell you all about it. Let's have him tell you how he's implementing his practice and what's going on with that. So that's what we're doing today. So let me give you a little background on Dr. Harmon. And also, this is going to be, for those of the listeners out there, you can go to YouTube and watch the video on this. There is going to be a slide presentation. So just be mindful of that. You can go and watch the full presentation on this. Okay, so just a little bit about you and Dr. Harmon as he's sitting in front of me today. So he is a chiropractic physician of 32 years. He is the founder and owner of Clear Mind Center of Idaho. He's board certified in QEEG, which we're going to get into that, the Quantitative Electroencephalograph. Did I say that right?
Close.
Okay, almost close. Can you pronounce that for me correctly? Encephalogram. Okay, just need to put it together. And neurofeedback. He's the father of 8 beautiful children. He's a grandfather of 24. And a little side note that a fun fact about him is he's a marbles champion of his elementary school. I love it. I love it. Marbles are great. That's why
I haven't lost my marbles yet.
I love it. I love it. This is great. So he's been a chiropractor, like I said, for 22 years in Boise. And a little background on this. So when his family had some severe trauma in March of 2010 and March of 2011, his 18-year-old niece committed suicide, unfortunately, and I'm sorry to hear that, in 2010. And his oldest daughter's husband was murdered in March 2011. I'm so sorry for all your losses, first and foremost. But you've had a lot of trauma and stuff happening in your family. So, and then you said your daughters had some depression, some anxiety, insomnia, and they were going down the medical route of prescription meds and counseling. Those weren't working. And so you decided to find things that could help your family and help your daughters. So this is where this led you to open up the Clear Mind Center, where you're helping people get their brains right, which we need that right now. So, oh my gosh, so much information. So without further ado, we're going to dive right in here, Dr. Harmon. And you're going to tell me all the things of a little bit more of this background and how you came into the Clear Mind Center, kind of switched from chiropractic, or do you still do chiropractic? I don't know. You can tell me. You do both? Is that correct? The chiropractic and the mind?
No, I don't do chiropractic anymore.
Okay, that's what I thought.
It's all brain stuff.
Okay, awesome. So I'll let you take the floor. Thank you again for being here. And without further ado, thank you. Tell us more. Oh my gosh, I just want to learn so much.
Well, thank you. First of all, thank you for the kind introduction.
Yeah, of course.
There is a little bit of a backstory, and some people wonder, what's a chiropractor doing all this brain stuff for? And sure. I think once you understand where somebody's been, you can understand why they do what they do, where their passions lie. So I do have a few slides.
Okay.
That
great.
I'll share.
It's gonna be great.
And I put this one on first. There we go. Because all of what I'm talking about has to do with frequency.
Yeah.
And whether it's we're doing frequencies on the brain or the LifeWave X39, this frequency medicine, so to speak. So
Right.
it's always good to start out and make sure everybody understands our body is just frequencies and energy. It looks like a solid substance and it feels solid, but everything in it is just energy. So that might help people understand what I'm about to talk about. And if you can see the waves going through this person, this representative of a human frame here, they're not just frequencies that go through us, but our bodies actually produce frequencies that I'll be talking about in a little bit. I wanted to give my contact information. She mentioned that founder and owner of ClearMind Center of Idaho. And then I'll just leave this up for a minute. If you have any questions about what I'm talking about and want to talk directly to me, that's my email, dr.jharmon@gmail.com. So at ClearMind, I've always sought to help people, whether it was when I was doing chiropractic, which I don't do anymore, or whatever it was nutritionally. I used to do IV therapy and ultraviolet blood irradiation, certified in oxidative medicine. I did all that stuff. I've sought to help people just live out their fullest expression of life, whatever it is, from where they are, whatever their situation is. They might be in a wheelchair. It's different than other people who can walk about. But whatever it is, I've tried to focus on that. When these things happened, that I'm going to explain in a minute, it changed my focus. And just a little bit of background on what we do here at ClearMind Center. We do microcurrent neurofeedback. That's what the MC stands for.
Okay.
Microcurrent is frequency, and it's pulses of normal delta waves that are sent into your brainstem that I'll explain as well. We also do genetic testing for variants that people might have that would prevent their body or their biochemical processes from responding normally, like to things like food or vitamins, or they have poor cholesterol regulation, or they can't seem to maintain proper weight in spite of how little they eat, or there are a lot of them. There are 18 of them. We check for those. And we also do, like she mentioned, I just put stem cell dash patch. There wasn't enough room to put activating patch. They actually don't have stem cells in them. So please don't misunderstand me on that to your audience. Stem cell activation patch. So it's a patch that actually elevates our own stem cells in our body. So microcurrent, just a little bit of background, our brainstem runs on delta waves. That's what's emitted from the brainstem when those cells are firing. Delta waves are our slowest form of brain waves. They are between 1 and 4 hertz. In other words, one time per second is what's firing up a brain cell, or up to 4. The lower range of that is what fires up the sympathetic nervous system. That's part of our autonomic system. That's the thing that runs the show. It runs everything that just happens that you don't have to think about. But there are 2 portions to that autonomic. One is the fight or flight. Look at that as the gas of the system. When you get in a car, it's good to have an accelerator.
Yeah.
But it's even better once you get going to have the brakes.
Sure.
And in general, the sympathetic system is the gas of the system. The parasympathetic is for resting, digesting, feel good, sleep, those types of things where we're slowing things down, except in the gut, it speeds things up in the gut. So it's not 100%. It slows other things down, but speeds up digestion. So people who don't have a healthy parasympathetic nervous system will have poor digestion. They'll have slow digestion. I've even heard patients say, I wake up in the morning, if I belch, I can taste the food I had the night before.
Whoa.
That's not a good thing, because then your food is rotting instead of being digested. So, so the microcurrent, these people who are really sick, they've been sick for a long time. They've not responded well to treatments. They don't digest well. They don't sleep. They're always anxious. They have depression. They have all kinds of different things. Their delta waves are running too slow. Microcurrent, we send in pulses of normal delta waves, and then all of a sudden they start doing both rather than just the slow. Now you have also the fast ones that run the parasympathetic. So then things like anxiety and, other health issues go away.
Wow.
Question?
No, this is making sense. I'm learning so much already. I know a lot about the parasympathetic system.
Of course you do, as in your work.
Right. But this is, and I know about neurofeedback too, but this is really how you're tying it in together. This is eye-opening for me a little bit, and it makes sense. It does. And so continue on.
Yeah. Well, we used to do, when I first started in 2015, we used to do operant conditioning neurofeedback. And what that is, that's training the brain. We do the brain map, the EEG, and then we see what's too high on the left, what's too low as far as power, your different brain waves. Your beta is too high on the left, and your delta, whatever. We have to get protocols, and then the system trains the brain. It rewards the brain for doing the right thing, and then deprives it of a reward for doing the wrong thing. And it has a 50-year history of success. This system, the microcurrent, untrains the brainstem from the faulty pattern that it is, and then it just starts back up firing normally. It's kind of like, you remember the first time you called an IT guy and your software wasn't working, and he said, well, why don't we just turn your computer off and turn it back on?
Right.
And I say, I'm never calling you for that again. Let's do that myself. So the system doesn't shut it down, but what it does, it sends in these pulses of normal delta waves, and then those brain cells start to resonate with that, and then they start firing. And then you get a clearing of the lymphatic system of all the toxins that have been built up in there for years, when it was stuck in what we call sympathetic freeze, meaning I can only fire up the sympathetic nervous system. And I'm always ramped up, and my mind won't shut off at night, and I'm trying to get all kinds of things will happen. But the bottom line is that is the auto neuroregulatory center of the brain that we're resetting.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Okay, so here, that's the bottom line. The brain can be fine-tuned. Now, the system we use is called IASIS. That's Egyptian for health.
Okay.
That's the name. So if anybody looks it up in their city that they live in, you would look up IASIS Microcurrent Neurofeedback. Okay. And that will take you to the corporate site.
And it's IASIS for those that are listening. IASIS.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what the heck am I doing? Brain stuff. You mentioned some of it, but that's our website right there, clearmindidaho.com.
Got it.
You mentioned we had a little bit of family trauma, and it's when I was, actually when I was younger, I didn't mention this at all, but this was my sister. She was 2 years older than I, never showed any signs of mental illness growing up. She was homecoming queen. She married the Florida State basketball star. She had 3 babies in 3 years, and all the doctors could ever tell us was something flipped in her brain. We don't know what. And she was never sane. Paranoid schizophrenic, lived in and out of mental institution, lived in a group home. That was starting in 1978. So I was 24.
Okay.
And she was the oldest in our family. It was devastating. She was alive, but she was gone. The Beverly that we knew was gone. She didn't pass away until 2012, basically as a stranger that we didn't know. We didn't know who she was. This was the last picture I have of her. Oh, wow. And I mean, it was so devastating. This is what made me want to flip brains back. Mm-hmm. But then...
This is the picture of her?
That was a picture of her.
Whoa, she doesn't even look the same person.
No, she doesn't.
And for the listeners out there, we're looking at like a blonde, beautiful, I'd say blonde bombshell, beautiful young woman to a woman I wouldn't even recognize.
So this is how is how we knew her.
Yeah.
And then when she'd been sick for a long time when this happened, or when she finally came to a little family function, but that was her. It was just,
her heart.
it was, it was devastating. Oh. So that started my curiosity, man, if there was a way I would flip her brain back. Yeah. Then I was a chiropractor for 22 years at this time in March 2010. And my 18-year-old niece committed suicide. And then my oldest daughter's husband was murdered in March of 2011, almost to the day. And it was really public. He was an attorney. He was it was on Dateline twice. This is one of the episodes.
I think I remember this.
Yeah. He was an attorney and he was having an affair with his paralegal. And then down here, you can see her in the bottom right. And this is her husband. So he killed him in the Walgreens parking lot there in Meridian on Linder. And
I remember this. Yes. Yeah. This was just on Dateline. It wasn't too long ago.
Oh, they've shown it a couple more times. Yeah. People come to the office. Hey, I saw your daughter on Dateline. You're like, really? It was on again?
You're like, great.
So then it was, this was the second episode. So it was very public. But the reason I tell you about this stuff is this is part of it right here.
Your grandbabies.
So this is my youngest daughter.
Oh, that's your daughter. Okay.
These are my identical twin granddaughters.
Oh, okay.
So she's only 2 years older.
Oh, gotcha.
She and my other daughter, see if I have a picture. No, I'm going to go back. I forgot there's another picture, but I had a picture of this daughter and then the daughter who's 4 years older than she was. But those two had anxiety, depression, and insomnia because Beverly, my sister, died the next year. And they just said, Daddy, everybody's going away. So they were really traumatized. And I said, after 3 or 4 years of prescription drugs and counseling wasn't working, they weren't working. I said, it's time. I'm going to find things to help flip brains. So that's what I've been. There's a happy ending. These are the granddaughters right here. They were Anna and Elsa in a musical. And they're just really beautiful girls. You
have a beautiful family. To the listeners out there, you got to check out this YouTube because his family is just gorgeous.
Thank you. So that's why I do what I do. That drives me to keep going and keep doing that. And I get to see the changes that happen in families so they don't have to suffer with that. So it's really rewarding to me.
Yeah.
So let's talk about one of the things we do, and that is the stem cell activation patches. I wanted to talk about that first.
Yeah.
And so I made this cool slide.
So this is cool.
to introduce us to the X39.
Yeah.
And it kind of reminds me of the patch because it's photobiomodulation in the patch.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about how to give you a comparison about how these work. Okay. Everybody, pretty much in the general knowledge, the collective knowledge in the general public is, we go out in the sun and somehow vitamin D is made.
Right.
Well, there's a reason for that. And we get the sunlight, we get the UV light coming in. UV light reacts with this 7-dehydrocholesterol. This gives the precursor to vitamin D, and we end up with vitamin D from sunlight. So just keep this principle in mind. Certain frequencies, when they enter our skin, can do different things. Think about pigment. We go out in the sun, if we're out there long enough, our body gets the signal, you know what, I got to protect myself. I better put some more pigment out there. And we get a tan. There are all kinds of things.
Right.
Well, here's another view of that. And then we get vitamin D3. Well, there's a really smart man named David Schmidt who's on the level of Nikola Tesla. What he did is evaluate the human body and figured out which photons of energy or light our bodies are emitting just sitting right now. Everybody watching this, your body is making photons. You don't see them, but part of that spectrum is infrared, far infrared, near infrared. And if you look at this, the light spectrum, that's a pretty big portion of the full light spectrum. So there are different frequencies of infrared. And then he figured out this: which portions of those frequencies could I reflect back into the body to turn on different pathways? So he has an entire selection of products prior to this X39. I'm not going to go into these, but briefly, there's one for pain, there's one for inflammation, sleep, one for increase in melatonin, one increases glutathione, one enhances energy. It causes your body to burn 300 to 600 calories more per day for energy, so fat burning. Then there's an appetite suppressant. So there's all these patches, but what happened with all of them, he figured out how to elevate with the patch by selectively reflecting back a frequency, how to turn on your body's natural ability to make certain peptides that are signaling molecules. That's what each one of those patches does. With the X39, it's the first one that was designed to elevate a peptide that signals our body to start making more stem cells. Not only that, but it converts or reverses the age of our old stem cells to a younger state. And when he first discovered it, the man who discovered them, that I'll tell you about, they put old liver cells in a petri dish and exposed it to the peptide that gets elevated by this patch. And the liver cells reversed their age and started making proteins and enzymes like younger liver cells.
Wow.
So this is how it all started. And he said, well, there must be something to this. Let's figure it out. And that's what he did. So the X39 actually elevates this peptide. And you can see right here where it says Cu. This is where it incorporates copper into this, more complex structure. It's not really that complex because it's only 3 amino acids with a copper molecule or atom incorporated into it. And this enzyme works like a switch to turn on or off different pathways in your body. Only one of them is to increase our stem cells. And I'm going to talk about some of the other benefits of this. So the enzyme that it elevates in our body is called the GHK copper. That's what the CU stands for.
CU, right?
GHK copper peptide. And this patch, and it's not much bigger than the way it looks on my screen. It's like a round Band-Aid, but you see the outer circle and then you see the inner circle. Yeah. This inner circle they figured out how to combine different organic materials like organic amino acids and salts and different things inside of that patch. And here's the really astounding thing. They figured out how to, with each one of the patches, combine these different substances so they form a new type of crystal structure. Each one of these has a separate and distinct crystal lattice structure designed to reflect a different frequency back into our body that turns on a different pathway. This is what the patches are all about. This one signals our body to make more GHK copper peptide that declines by at least 80% by the time you're my age. And then we just don't have it anymore. So now.
Wait, can you touch on, sorry to interrupt you real quick. So say that again with the copper peptide, because you said it declines by age. So I remember hearing something you saying about like by age 35, it's like half our stem cells decrease in production. And then by age 65, it's like nearly nothing. Can you touch on that for a second?
Yeah, by the age of 65, they've gone down. This has declined by about 60%.
60%.
Just remember 60-60 approximately.
Okay.
By the age of 60, GHK has declined about 60%. Our stem cells start to decrease. I believe it is at age 35. We don't have as many. Mm-hmm. And then they age as well. And then we have old stem cells. The GHK copper peptide, interesting thing about what it does with stem cells, it actually, just like those liver cells, it turns them to a younger state. Wow. And it actually stimulates our body to make more what are called pluripotent stem cells, PLURI. You can look that up. Pluripotent stem cells that can then become omnipotent stem cells, and they can become any cell in your body that needs to be repaired. If you're lacking some, bone cells, they can become bone cells. If you're lacking some brain cells, they can become brain cells. And there was a brain study done, and this is one of the reasons these are included in our protocols here at Clear Mind Center, because of the brain study that I saw, where the brain coherence, which is, if you look at coherence, it's a map of brain activity, side to side, front to back, and you don't want to have too much asymmetrically, too much on one side or the other, or front to back. You want to have pretty even and full activity. You don't have it all segmented or really like overpowered on the left and not very much on the right. So using this patch helps with brain coherence and memory. Memory was a biggie, which checks one of the boxes for me, because my goals in life, some of them are, I want to remember who I am when I'm old, 80 and 90. I don't want to be meeting a new person in my house who happens to be my spouse every 15 minutes. Who are you? I don't want that. I want to be able to travel to visit other people and not have to be at home in a bed having them come and visit me. Right. So this patch checks that brain box for me, but it also checks the cardiovascular box that I'll talk about as well.
Ooh, I love it.
So GHK copper peptide, the company got the patent for this technology because they proved through double-blind blood tests, that wearing this patch elevates the GHK copper peptide. So in order to know how important that is, I want you to write this down. This is the man's website who discovered this. This is Dr. Loren Picard, Loren. His website implies what the GHK copper peptide does. It's called reverse aging with GHK.com. Okay. On that website, you will find 6 different categories. Only one of them has to do with stem cells. The others have to do with some of the things I'm just going to talk to you about right now. So the GHK copper peptide, discovered in 1973 by Dr. Loren Picard, it converted those older liver cells to a younger state, like I talked about. It causes or creates in your body a situation where you have rapid wound healing. And over on the right, you see collagen repair and collagen destruction. And you ask yourself, why would somebody want to destroy collagen? Yeah. Scar tissue. Right. Scar tissue. When collagen is formed, it forms like the cells line up and then it's flexible. Scar tissue, they're lined in a haphazard way and it's not flexible. Yeah. So this GHK can break the linkages, the cross linkages, so that scars become more like normal cells. And I've even seen them go from really being dimpled down, like a big cavern where the scar is, to over a period of months, flatter, more like normal skin. This is a biggie right here as well, because the GHK copper peptide is what your body uses to repair 4,200 of our genes that get oxidized. This is why, in my opinion, some people who put this patch on see dramatic things happen in just 3 or 4 days. Mm-hmm. Some people even in 1 day. And these are my personal thoughts. If a gene has become oxidized and it can't work, and it gets immediately repaired by the GHK copper peptide, and now it turns back on. Now you have something that's instant. You have something that now starts to work, which wasn't working before. So it's kind of like tuning a piano. The genes need a little maintenance. You get exposed to EMFs or bad food. I call things that you buy in a box in a bag at the grocery store that they call food.
Yeah.
It's not really food. It has calories, but those are electron stealers. They're not electron donors like real food, fresh food from the earth.
Right.
Those things out of a box in a bag will cause oxidation, and that can be to our genes. And so this repairs those. The GHK repairs it. A couple more things here. Researchers have done a lot of evaluation and where they think how we as humans develop this GHK copper peptide. And anciently, we didn't have housing and we didn't have medicines, and we had to adapt really quickly to changes in weather. All of a sudden it's summer, and then this huge storm comes in, and now you have snow, or fighting off infections, acts of war. You're in a war and you get wounded. You have, with the GHK, you have rapidly accelerated wound healing, and it increases blood vessel formation. And so this is one of the reasons people are having such great success with neuropathy, diabetic neuropathy and others. So you have a situation where you don't have good circulation. The nerve endings will die because of poor maintenance. You don't get nutrition down to them. So you increase the microcirculation with the GHK. Now you can get nutrients to the damaged nerves, and then those things start to heal.
Right. Makes sense.
Other things of starvation, you're in a famine or something, we humans anciently, and the GHK increases the healing of many tissues, skin, stomach, intestine lining, and bone tissue rapidly.
Wow.
So this is kind of a summary right here.
Yeah.
You get rapid pain relief. You get reduced inflammation, supports wound healing. A lot of people notice right off increased energy and just, vitality. Mental clarity, enhances sport performance. And the way it does that is it accelerates processing of lactic acid. So people will start using these and they go, on leg day, man, my legs would kill me. They get so sore. And they say, no, my legs don't even get sore. I can work out fully and then I don't get sore legs. So faster recovery from exercise as well. And then on Dr. Pickard's website, you're going to see a category of skin, hair, and nails. So you get smoothing of skin and decreasing wrinkle depth, as well as regrowing hair. I am one of the lucky ones. I'm 67 next week, and I still have my hair.
You have a great head of hair.
Thank you. You know what? It's turning brown again on top. I still have some holdouts along here. It is turned brown.
Okay, so I have to interrupt you. So I have been on these patches, 4 months now, something like 5 months. I have psoriasis. My psoriasis on my elbow, gone. I just noticed the other day, I was like, my elbow is all smooth. I noticed that. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
I didn't really pay attention to it till the other day. And I was like, oh, yeah, I'm not having any psoriasis. So,
and that's pretty typical when things go away. It's hard to, when you don't have something, you don't think about it all the time. And then somebody reminds you, or you look in the mirror and you go, oh my gosh, that's right. I used to have that. Yeah. And now I don't have that.
And then another, I have to share this too. This just happened right before we got on the call. I had sent some patches to a friend, and he is a snow skier, and he had been having some knee problems. I didn't know he had knee problems, but he just sent me a text message and he said, wow, Tavia, he said, I put the Eon patch, which is another patch we can talk about later date, but it works for inflammation. And it can work in conjunction with X39 for the listeners out there. But anyways, I gave him one of those Eon patches, and he said, within 20 minutes, my pain was completely gone and I can move my knee again.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I know.
Eon patch, we will have to talk about that another time, but
we should.
It actually, the signal from that, the frequency that gets reflected back into your body from that one
Yeah.
signals your liver to make more of a natural substance called phenylacetylglutamine.
Yes.
Which turns on a bunch of anti-inflammatory pathways. It's
that's
remarkable.
So cool. Oh, I want to know so much more about that Eon patch. Yeah, that's one of my favorites. I do X39 Eon, or like just my life.
Well, the Eon accentuates the effect or supports the X39 because
right.
Stem cells are attracted to inflammation. If the inflammation's too great, then the stem cells die. So it will actually enhance the effect of the X39.
Awesome. All right.
Here's a couple of examples. I'm actually friends with this gal on Facebook now. This is really how she looked before.
Wow.
You can see up there, her hair is really stringy. And it's almost like this is all Photoshop, but it's not. I've actually seen video of her. Somebody from, I think, China, I'm not sure what language that is, put this,
like
this
Chinese,
was a Facebook post, somebody in LifeWave. Yeah.
I'm assuming those are days, 42 days, 355. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I see it there. Yeah. Okay. I was looking at
this is really a remarkable little thing. This was a 6-year-old.
Whoa.
I have the description on the next cell. So he got the fingertip totally cut off. The surgeon almost refused the dad. He said, we just need to put a skin flap over it because that fingertip will die.
Oh. And
then you'll have to have another surgery. And the dad insisted because he had stem cell activation patches. He put that right there, right down near that fingertip. And this is the story. So it was a 6-year-old whose finger was slammed in a door and the tip was severed. The doctor said the only way forward was the skin graft. Surgeon kind of reluctantly did it. The tip did look as though it had died, and that's what the blackness is right here. Oops, I gotta go back.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why this is necrotic tissue.
Right.
Black. This is the fingertip afterwards.
Wow.
It's remarkable.
2 months, you guys got to check this video out.
Yeah. When you talk about increasing the microcirculation and the vessel production and repair, that's everything. So then you can get oxygen to it, you can get nutrients, and then it just has a chance of healing. And then the stem cells just, fix stuff. So that was remarkable.
That is remarkable.
This is kind of a compilation of some of those and more. This is a guy's hair before and after. This is a gal's hair before and after. And
full head of hair.
It's full head of hair and darker. And I see that. I've seen that a lot over the last 16 months that I've been using. This one down in the corner was really meaningful to me because I read MRIs and I've done so for a long time, but you can see this bulging disc right here.
Oh, yes.
And then you don't see it right here.
Oh my gosh, I need a bigger picture of that one. Oh, you'll have to send that to me. That's remarkable. Wow.
Does that help?
Yeah, I'm going to take a picture of that. There we go.
I can send you the actual picture.
Yeah, send that to me too. Wow, sure. and look at the space, and that's the brainstem going down, right? Isn't that?
Well, this
or where am I? This is. Am I looking? Lateral
C1 area here. This is the lateral cervical spine. This is C2.
Gotcha.
C3, 4, 5. And here's the numbers right here too. I didn't even see that.
Yeah, I see that. Okay, gotcha.
T1 is clear down here. So this was a C7.
Wow. Yep. Clearly.
T1 area right here. And you can see this pushing into the spinal cord actually. And then a bulge here, a little bulge here. So big one, smaller. But then you see this. And what's really interesting is that Dr. Lauren Picard. I'm going to have to.
Yeah, you can see the brainstem is like clear or, more not so bumpy either, it looks like.
Dr. Picard, actually just go on PubMed.
Yeah.
And you can find studies where they actually injected the GHK copper peptide just underneath the skin near a spinal segment, and it caused the disc to heal.
Oh my gosh, that's insane. Wow.
Now, the other thing I talked about is the gene test.
Yeah. I have that same report. Well, not the same as yours, but I know what that one is. Yes.
So this
important.
this is a test. There are 18 SNPs that are called actionable.
Mm-hmm.
The SNP stands for single nucleotide polymorphism. Whoops, lost my earpiece here. Single nucleotide polymorphism.
Mm-hmm.
And that just means it's an aberrant gene, or they're not functioning normally.
Right.
And you look here at healthy lipid support, mitochondrial function. I happen to get from both parents for oxidative stress from both parents, the MTHFR.
Yeah, I do too.
This glutathione transferase, this is where it can be life-threatening.
Does that mean you're not producing glutathione or you're not processing?
Glutathione has to be recharged.
Yeah.
It's an electron donor.
Okay.
It's an antioxidant. So something becomes oxidized, it loses an electron. It's glutathione that puts it back. Then it has to go back and get recharged and come back. And if it's getting overwhelmed, that system is really great, because glutathione also recharges vitamin E and vitamin C, because they're antioxidants too. Mm-hmm. So they donate an electron, glutathione puts it back. So the real conundrum, a real puzzle in my life, why did a seemingly healthy guy get blood poisoning twice and a bone infection once? And I think this is why, because the bacteria got in my bloodstream and I couldn't fight. Glutathione is a master immune switch.
Yeah. It's a big deal.
And so I got, that's one of the reasons that I don't do chiropractic anymore, because I got bone infection in my wrist from a root canal. I had a root canal. I was under conscious sedation, and the dentist did a root canal without my permission. And
what?
I woke up. He said that tooth was so bad I had to do a root canal, and he just as well told me, we had to cut your right foot off. I felt so violated and betrayed.
It's awful.
Then a week later, my wrist puffed up like a football.
Yeah.
And
had to go somewhere.
Basically, my body was really smart. It walled it off. So it was only contained in my wrist. That wrist was already arthritic from adjusting so much for all those years.
Sure.
And so it says, hey, it's already compromised here. So it walled it off. And I didn't have any markers of infection or inflammation in my blood at first. Yeah. So anyway, that's one of the reasons these things are so important to find out. Yeah. So then we do that, and then one supplement will be formulated according to a person's genes. Mm-hmm. If somebody has a detox problem, and then the microcurrent neurofeedback causes their brain to go through a big detox, now it's out into the body, and they have to be able to process that. So it's important for us to know that in advance.
Yeah.
Well, those are all my slides.
Yeah.
If you have any questions, I'd like to, open it up to answer anything that you have.
Yeah, I just had a couple questions. Well, I probably have a gazillion questions, but but the ones that that really come to mind. First of all, thank you. That was amazing. And for those of the listeners out there who aren't watching this, please go to YouTube and watch this. I will post it also on my website, and I'll share the link for your office as well, Dr. Harmon, if you'd like to use it anyway, shape or form. Yeah. So we'll make sure you get the link as well. And I wanted to also point out, I will put some of those links that we talked about below too, so they can go to those.
Great. Okay.
Yeah. But one of the questions that I wanted to ask you was the implementation of the X39 itself, and how has that changed? And you implement that obviously in the Clear Mind Institute, right? Our center. How's that changed your practice? What have you seen with some of your patients?
It's really huge, because it helps with the very thing that we're fixing, the brain.
Yeah.
That 6-week study showed much better brain coherence and memory. So we're kind of getting it from two different sides, meaning we're doing the microcurrent neurofeedback. We also do cold laser here. Which helps with the brain. Cold laser. And then we actually have them start using the X39 to get all kinds of different benefits. Like in the slides there, it's not just for brain, but they'll report that some pain went away, or they're sleeping better, or all kinds of benefits, including the brain.
Yeah.
So me personally, I feel at least 10 years younger than I did a year ago.
Wow. And you started a year ago?
I started actually more than a year ago. It was right about when the pandemic, the shutdown happened. Yeah. So I think my first day using the patches was the first week of April sometime, because I ordered some and then they arrived sometime during that week.
Yeah.
And that's when we started, my wife and I started using them. I noticed a little bit of difference right off. We were going on lots of walks because my practice was closed for 2.5 months.
Yeah.
And she was working from home. She worked for Micron. And she just says, I just feel like a little lighter, and I feel like better mood. We're both upbeat people anyway.
Yeah.
But my big shift came at 2.5 months. Remember the slide that said it repairs gut tissue?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's been one of my genetic SNPs that you saw in there predisposes me for gut and sinus problems.
Same.
So gut was something that I fought my whole life. At one point in my life, I could only eat chicken, steamed vegetables, and rye crackers because I was allergic to everything else because of leaky gut.
Yep.
So that was a big shift. And then at 4.5 months, I had a big shift in my heart health. It's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, that's a big deal. We need the ticker.
The study that was done for the heart, for cardiovascular, there was actually a study that was done on organ function. So multiple systems in the body were tested, but the results of the cardiovascular just meant a lot to me. And what they found after wearing the patch for 6 weeks, the heart, the cardiovascular system, according to their measurements, acted 2 months younger.
What?
So 6 weeks on the patch.
Whoa.
2 months younger. If you do the math, for every day you wear the patch, your heart gets a day and a third younger.
Okay, sign me up. That's all good.
You check the brain box, you check the cardiovascular box. Those two things alone, all stem cells aside, it's just, those are huge deals. Yeah. So mine with my heart, I had heart palpitations my whole life. I went to the doctor multiple times. You got these PVCs. They're just, we can't do anything about them.
Yep.
You don't need medicine, but it's just irritating.
Yep.
I was a distance runner. My heart worked like a charm when I was running, but when I was at rest, when it would slow down, it would randomly just kind of skip a beat.
Yeah.
Yep. And not anything to cause your oxygen saturation to go down very much or anything like that. So it didn't really do anything about it. And what was weird is that since I had those my whole life, I put one like right there where I felt those. And I had them on there for like 4.5 months. And I had a knee replacement surgery coming up. I was a wild skier and I beat the heck, and I was a distance runner. And so it needed to be replaced. So I had one coming up, but all of a sudden these PVCs got every fifth beat.
You've been listening to the Sweet Life Coaching Podcast. To learn more about the topics mentioned on today's show, please visit sweetcoachtavia.com.